Good morning. We are live. I am glad to be here with you today. Today's show probably should have had the title Woulda, Coulda, Shoulda. We're going to talk about some things that are shaking out post-election, things that are happening real time as we that are the direct result of your um, election. So let's dig into it. Let's talk about the events domestically and internationally. What is going on with the world today? All right, folks, let's talk about it. There are several things going on. We're going to run through a few things. We're going to talk about really what everybody keeps saying, what are we going to do? How are we going to fight? I keep saying you've got to wait till those fights form. You've got to see what's happening on the ground before you can determine what you're going to do in response. The key is to be aware. The key is to know what's going on. We're going to talk about some things that have happened since the election that are changing, that are going on as we speak, that needs your attention so that they're not sneaking up on you, so that you're not getting caught flat-footed, so that somebody comes up with some BS or some talking points that are crap. You don't, you're ahead of it. You know what's going on. But before we do that, I want to introduce you to this. No, this isn't a sponsor. I tell you about good people to follow and things like that on the internet. This is something else. This is something that Mrs. Texas Paul found. Now look, you know me, I'm a handyman. I am. I've got a tool room. That's where I'm at. I don't have a tool chest. I have a tool room. So yeah, whenever we'd have like a plumbing issue or something, drain would get slow. 99% of the time it's hair. It's always hair. I don't know if you have women in your house, but 99% of the time it is hair. And me, I'm doing things the hard-headed way. I'm tearing things apart, getting in there, cleaning it all out, this, that, and the other. Yeah, Mrs. Texas Paul found this is like a couple dollars. Ask her in the chat. She's in the chat. Where the hell she gets these? This thing is priceless. See, it's really flimsy. It's a very low cost item. You take this thing, you poke it down into your drain. You don't have to pull your drain apart. Nothing. You just slip it in, and it's because it's flimsy, it can bend past. Like I've got like Delta faucets where the drain plugs don't come out. You've got to literally go into the sink and disassemble faucet to get the plug out. You don't have to do that with this. You just like sneak it in. And this thing costs like $3, man. Lifesaver. Get you some of these. I'm telling you, get you some of these. Drain ever slows down. There you go. Dollar Tree. There you go. There you go. Probably the Dollar Tree. Mrs. Texas Paul loves the Dollar Tree. But yeah, 99% of the time, you got a slow drain. It's hair. That thing will reach in. It's got little barbs. It'll hook onto the hair, and you pull it back out, and all this gross, nasty, soap-covered, bacteria-laden hair comes with it. Anyways, that's a little pointer I wanted to give you. It's not just about who to follow online and all this other stuff. When I come across something that's good, I'm going to tell you about it. Mrs. Texas Paul's probably livid at me right now. It's priceless. It really is. Let's talk about what's going on. Google has stunned the world. They are so far ahead of where everybody thought they were. This is incredible. Their new Willow chip it's a game changer. It's a game changer. And how you're saying, Paul, how are you gonna make this about politics? Hang on. This chip that they unveiled, let me give you some idea. Embedded into a server with a hierarchy that they know they can build with a series of these willow chips. They can build an relatively inexpensive server, just a regular old frickin' server that can do in 5 minutes what it takes our standard supercomputer. I'm talking about university owned and maintained. I'm talking about DARPA supercomputers would take them 30 years to do. This is beyond next level. This is galaxy changing. It is a quantum chip. It is a quantum chip. Not that difficult to maintain, easy to build into hierarchy. That's been a big problem is once you go from, standard motherboards and standard servers to a quantum chip, you're talking about entirely different languages. You're talking about this chip is well advanced into going into systems. We're talking soon, very, very soon. You're going to have systems run by Willow chips. And everybody is freaking the hell out. And this is where it gets into politics. Lori, thanks for the support. I really appreciate you. Could not do it without you people. I literally could not devote the time I do without you people. I'm truly grateful. Let me explain some of the things that this changes. Blockchain, everybody's like, oh, well, you're quantum safe due to encryption and blockchain. And no, it's not. No, it's not. A system driven by a Willow chip, Willow quantum chip, would eat your encryption in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye. The entire crypto industry and its foolishness about, oh, well, your investment's safe because it's the actual data isn't centralized and oh no. That's over. You're talking about next generation AI. Right now they're limited. AI is limited. It really has a hard time mimicking humanity. It does. Even in simple conversations, it's pretty easy to trip up AI. It's not as nearly as impressive as we were led to believe it would be. You've seen some of the images it creates. I mean, it can't figure out that that last creation couldn't figure out that when I said I want to see a pretty girl, typically a pretty girl doesn't have a 1 foot that long. I mean, it's it's kind of laughable. It really is. Not anymore. An AI system driven by Willow chips and the chips that can, nobody's just going to sit and let Google run with this. They're going to, this means competition has taken off in this field. I mean, for real. I mean, practicality purposes, it's getting real, which means you're going to have to be careful. You're going to have to be very, very careful. I have people that reach out to me all the time. Are you selling crypto? Hell no, I'm not selling crypto. No, I'm not selling crypto. I don't sell shit but mugs. I don't. That's it. That's what I sell. And you know where to find those? Those are on my website. No, I don't sell crypto. No, I didn't ask you out on a date. That's another one. Ladies, I am a happily married man. I am not chatting you up. I'm not. I'm just not. I mean, not that you're not beautiful, not that you're not wonderful. No, my wife would murder me. And she has access to all my social media. So no, no, because I'm not that kind of guy, one. And two, my wife would literally murder me and get away with it too. She's freaking smart, man. I mean, she's smart. So yeah, I mean, No, I'm not chatting you up. But here comes systems driven by quantum chips. And just like we're having a conversation now, you could think that we're actually literally having a conversation. It would be my face, my voice. You're going to have to be very, 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 very careful in the coming years where you access information from. You are, because they're going to be able to duplicate us all. They're going to be able to create nefarious people. They already do it. You see what the bots do, the hackers do. They're going to have access to computing power where not only, like you see them, it happened on Blue Sky immediately when my account took off on Blue Sky. We've got a pretty solid community here, folks. I mean, everywhere we go, we have a lot of very like-minded people. So the crap people on the right are always drawn to our community, and they create clone accounts. It was a problem. It was a problem. Ask people in chat. They were fully aware. There were immediately clone account after clone account after clone. Imagine those clone accounts if they can literally simulate my speaking style, the way I look. They can change my clothing. That's what we're looking at next, folks. And where this comes down to the election is, Spicy Jester says, Trump said last night that grocery prices will be difficult to lower. The people who traded democracy for eggs just got the middle finger. We warned them, but they didn't listen. He doesn't care. Yep. We're going to do show after show after show, covering all of it as it pops up, as the prices change. I'm going to take 5 minutes to divert into that comment. You're going to see gas and oil prices drop. You are. You ask any expert in the field. We have a glut of gas and oil. We do. Russia, we're going to talk about Russia a little bit later. They're crumbling. You're going to see Trump peeling back all the pressure we're putting on Russia. You're going to see their gas and oil hitting the market. You're going to see prices drop, and Magan's going to be like, see, told you. Folks, listen to me. I'm not an oil and gas expert. I just listen to people who are. When Trump does what we know Trump's going to do with Russia, and he peels back all that we are doing to limit their ability to sell gas and oil, that's going to flood the markets. And when it does, American companies are the first to die. They just are. The cost of doing business here is higher. The profit margins are slimmer. We can't do what the Saudis do. Saudis, they utilize frickin' slave labor to run their oil fields. They do. It is literally Chinese slave labor. I mean, they owe your soul to the company store, that kind of thing. Russia, they don't give a damn. They don't pay their people crap. They have no safety. Oil spills, like people say, well, we have 2,000 oil spills a day in this country. Yeah, we make them clean it up. That has a cost. Russia, they spill, it lies. It's just the way it is. So when those prices fall, we're the first to die. We are. It's just economics. We're the first to die. Then you're talking, oh, I love you folks so much. I know I say that all the time, but I mean it. I really mean it. Randy Oliver here in Canada. Canada's pissed off. There's a slap tariffs on us at your peril. We will go after we will cut energy supplies first. You're talking about all kinds of upheaval in the oil and gas markets. But in the near term, you're going to see a glut forcing prices down. And when that happens, American companies, hold me to pin this comment. American gas and oil companies die first. Then we're bent over. Remember the bad old days of the 70s when we were bent over by OPEC? Remember those days? They're coming back. They're coming back because we don't have an administration. And that's the point of this whole show. We're going to talk about several different things and the fact that we don't have an administration. I'm going to bring it back now to the show, what we were talking about. We don't have an administration in place, folks. And when I say this, this isn't hyperbole. This isn't like, ooh, we lefties are really sticking it to it. No, this is plan your life around this. We don't have an administration that is putting good and competent people into positions of management. We don't. We don't. The Trump administration has been really clear to the point that the billionaires that funded him are going, oh, we got to have a talk. We got to have a talk. But they're not getting anywhere because Trump's a greedy ass and it's all about his grift. He's got one term, maybe. He's got one term to get all he can. And that's all he's doing. Everybody he's putting in place is there for one purpose. They'll do whatever the hell he wants to help him grift. And again, the tragedy of this, Trump, there's nothing stopping Donald Trump from putting good, qualified people. The United States of America has a wealth pool of talented people to do these jobs. We just do. And he could appoint really, really, really good qualified people to do this. But he's not. And you have to accept what's coming forward from those points. And we're going to talk about a few things that are going on, like J.D. Vance has popped his head back up. You know, J.D. Vance, everybody's been like, where's Waldo? Well, has he been working on something important? Has he been working on something for the American people to put forward an agenda for you? And this, no. He's been working with Greg Price, who's out of the Trump campaign, to put together more conspiracy theories. That's what they're doing. That's what, the old James Comer, Jimmy Jordan committees on conspiracy theories. That's what J.D. Vance is doing. This right here. For those keeping score at home, this was labeled a dangerous conspiracy theory months ago. And what he's talking about is Greg Price here, who's a nutball, just a nutball, who works in the Trump campaign. And again, like I told you, they're not leaving campaign footing at all. They're not going to governing mode. They're just not. They're not making that transition. They're not vetting anyone. It's all staying on in campaign mode. Oh, Greg Price here says the FBI had 26 confidential human sources at the Capitol on January 6th, including 4 who entered the Capitol building and 13 who entered the restricted area around the Capitol, according to a just released DOJ Inspector General report. Yeah. And no, that wasn't a conspiracy theory. It wasn't. They're trying to turn it into one. It's a source. It's not an agent. It's a source. The FBI has sources in the KKK. The FBI has sources in drug cartels. The FBI has sources in child trafficking, human trafficking organizations. Do you think that means the FBI runs them or controls them or what? No, it's just a source of information. Sometimes those sources don't even know they're cooperating with the FBI. But your average idiot MAGA person doesn't know what the word source means. Thank you again, Randy. I appreciate you, brother. They don't know what the word source means. So yeah, that's what JD Vance is doing. Is he working on recruiting really sharp people to do the jobs? No. Is he working on, I mean, he's an educated man. For all things JD Vance is, uneducated isn't one of them. Is he putting that to good use? No. No. He's working on conspiracy theories and all that campaign nonsense that they pushed on the social media platforms and all that crap. That's what they're doing. And that's a damn tragedy. It is a damn tragedy. We're watching a train wreck, but it's in slow frickin' motion, in broad daylight, with the crossing guards down and the alarm bells ringing, and there's nobody stopping that train. And the corporate media is there setting up their cameras so that they can film it. Not telling people, hey, you know what? There's a runaway train. You need to get off the tracks. No, they're setting up the cameras so they can film it. And that's what we're dealing with, folks. And just subject after subject after subject, that's what we're going to talk about today. Elections have consequences. Here's another consequence. Yep, not going to be the ambassador of Mexico. Yay! But she is going to run Voice of America. Boo. Folks, I've said this forever. This whole government is bad thing that the Republicans have pushed forever it's a problem. It is an incredibly bad problem. And old Leatherface here is going to run Voice of America. People, the government does jobs that are important. They do. Yeah, is there government waste? Sure. Yeah. There's the old $900 hammer thing that came out. If you're as old as I am, you remember that. The $3,000 toilet seat and $900 hammer that we all were just disgusted by, because you used to buy a hammer. When that story came out, you could buy a hammer for like $1.25. $9 for a really good one, But my dad, who worked in the government, actually explained that to me pretty clearly. He said, son, when you have to idiot proof everything, which means if you have a specific fastener inside a multi-million-dollar aircraft and you've got to idiot proof it, you ask the manufacturer of that aircraft to give you a tool to do a job. And that aircraft manufacturer doesn't make tools. They make aircraft. So you're going to a top tier, high end, very specific machine shop within a company that works with, carbon fiber. They work with, alloys that your average person can't buy. And you're asking them to make a hammer. And you're shocked when that hammer costs $900. That's how we get it. When you ask McDonnell Douglas or somebody to make a toilet seat, yeah, that's going to be a $3,000 toilet seat. It is, because it's not what they do. They make airplanes. You're asking them to take all of their high-end, super technical, hyper talented, very expensive shops to build a toilet seat. Not cheap. Not cheap. Not a cheap way to do things. That's how that happens. Well, this whole government is bad thing sprung out of that nonsense. Those are the stories that they told, oh my God, that are just wasting all your money. No, folks, the government does things. It does things that are important. We're going to talk about several of them today. Peter Campbell, when you're planning a massive robbery, who do you want in charge of the police? Barney Fife or Columbo? Yeah, good point, man. Great point, Peter Campbell. Great point. So yeah, the government does important things. One of the important things it does is Voice of America. Voice of America is the voice of America. You don't listen to Voice of America because you're not their target audience. They operate predominantly outside the United States, and it is their job to convey the message of the United States of America to the rest of the world. Sound like an important job? It sounds like a fairly important job to me. It just does. And now it's being done by Kari Lake, who is a nutball conspiracy theorist, weirdo. I would go so far as say freak. And she's supposed to control the messaging. You know, we're supposed to compete with Xi in China. We're supposed to compete with Putin in Russia. You know, Russia's got a very, very advanced propaganda system. They do. And now ours is run by Kari Lake. Seems important to me. It just does. I mean, it's not like we don't have the greatest film industry, communications industry in the world here in the United States. It's not like the best movies in the world, the best, the best commercials in the world, the best. It's not like they're made here in the United. Oh wait, they are made here in the United States. I mean, there are a billion people that they could have gone out and said, "Hey, that guy's really freaking qualified. Oh, look, they're doing top tier, next level AI generated stuff. Maybe they should run Voice of America." You know, they take the job. There's a lot of patriots out there. There are a lot of people that would put their careers on hold to go do a job like this. And Trump could do that. Trump could do that. No kidding, right? Russo brothers for Voice of America. He could do that. There's nothing stopping him from going to qualified people. But no, not what he's doing at all. And I have to tell you, this weakness, and that's what this is. This is weakness. Incompetency is weakness. And we're going to talk a little bit about Russia later. But China is reacting to our weakness. They are. This is a big freaking deal. Again, I'm going to put my neck out there with a prediction, but Taiwan is gone. China is engaged in the largest military buildup right off the coast of Taiwan. Naval, air, ground forces, the largest military buildup China is engaged in half a century. Where do you think they're going? I mean, that's what's happening right now. You know, I know the corporate media is too busy, rubbing one out over this chaos they created and celebrating this mess they created and lapping up the rewards of their sane washing of Trump and patting themselves on the back. But, this is really happening. And I've got to go to NPR to get a decent article on it. Our national security folks are freaking out right now. They are screaming to anyone that will listen, and they're in the room alone. Because the press doesn't really want to talk about failures that are happening because they know they caused this. They sane washed Trump and they caused this. They are just as culpable as every Trump voter out there. Folks, this is a big deal. We were talking about the willow chips from Google. Taiwan is, ask anybody in the communications industry, Taiwan is one of the most technologically advanced places on earth you can be. You know, all those chip manufacturing jobs that, and factories that we're building, down in the desert Southwest, that's from Taiwan. Those jobs left Taiwan to come here. And I got to tell you, the Biden administration has done a really, really good job of slowing China down as far as AI is concerned. But the moment they take Taiwan, they're on equal footing with us. They are. That's what it means. That's what it means. When they take Taiwan, they're on equal footing with us as far as commercial technology is concerned. Now we're still ahead on R&D and whatnot, but just as far as mainline chips that we're manufacturing today, China takes Taiwan, they're our equal. That's what it means. And Trump cannot deal with this. The people he's putting in, Pete Hegseth, you really think Pete Hegseth is prepared to deal with an invasion of Taiwan? They're about to gut our military. They're going to take some of our most experienced officers and they're going to put them out of a job. Mr. Knudsen, amen, brother. I hear you. What about the price of eggs? Yeah, Trump coming out and admitting there isn't crap he can do about the grocery prices. You folks know I've been telling you, document prices, document prices, document prices. And you keep doing what you do, which is tell me factual things. And I keep telling you, you know what? I started the Ride or Die movement. I have pushed to have this more militant movement within the Democratic Party, and you people are like herding cats. You are, because you know shit, and you won't just let me tell you shit. You know shit, and it makes it hard. It makes it hard. It really does. It really does. So, I mean, it's not hard on the right. It's not, because they're all freaking stupid and they want to hear bad shit. But, when I tell people, document grocery prices, document gas prices, the first thing I hear is 50 people to say the president doesn't control gas prices. I know that. You know that. They are the morons that don't know that. We've got a message to them. We've got to message to them. They're the ones that thought that when they put Trump in power, that it was going to be great for business and their groceries are going to get cheaper. So yeah, pretty please, stop being as smart as you are and start remembering we don't need to talk to each other. We got to talk to the dumb ones in the room. Just remember that, okay? So when I ask you to do something a little dumb, just a little bit dumb, like, document your gas prices because, the president doesn't control gas prices, but we're going to blame Trump for it anyways because they blame Biden for the price of eggs. Pretty please, just do it. Pretty please. I love you folks. I really do. I would, don't get me wrong. I am so glad to be talking to you people that have brains in your head than talking to freaking those morons. And I'm more than happy to deal with the fact that it's a little bit harder, a little bit more work on my part than it would be to just deal with a bunch of goose-stepping freaking Nazis. Kay Allen, thank you for the support. Trump is weak and failing. We warned you Donnie is, in fact, demented, and Taiwan will be lost because Donnie is worthless. Amen. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Folks, it is the largest military buildup in China in half a century. Where do you think they're going? Literally across the water from Taiwan. It's air power, it's sea power, it's ships, transport ships. What do you need transport ships if you're not going anywhere? Taiwan is screaming that this is going on. I actually like this more than my other cup because you can take that one anywhere. You can take that one to the office. I like that one. But yeah, this weakness has a cost, and I'm just this the whole time I'm sitting there looking at these nominees, and that's where I take my mind goes to. Okay, so this nominee gets in. What now? What happens? What now? And that's what we're dealing with, folks. Elections have consequences. Our local, our domestic energy production companies, they're like, oh, bring back the pipeline. No, no, you're not going to get a reconstitution of that stupid little XL pipeline. They say, well, the Keystone pipeline got shut. No, it doesn't. Oil is flowing out of the Keystone pipeline right now. The Keystone pipeline exists. It was a diversion off of the Keystone pipeline that got killed. It was. It was never built. It was never near built. It was like 15% into the project. No. And it's not going to get reinstituted. Why? Because the American oil industry is about to get kicked right in the nuts. You think they're going to go build new pipelines when oil's cheaper than water? When oil's cheaper than anything? No. You think they're gonna all of these folks that have jobs. There's a bumper sticker that's really popular around. Ask Mrs. Texas Paul; she'll tell you about it. One of the most annoying things you've ever seen is these young girls around here. They go marry themselves somebody that works out in the oil fields, and they're riding around in their Tahoe and their Suburban, and they slap on the back of it a bumper sticker that says "Oil Field Honey, spending oil field money." Because the oil fields is a way for uneducated people to go out and make high five, low six figures. And they don't save money. They don't, because they, not the brightest people in the world. That's over. That's over next year. That is over. There's going to be some cheap used Tahoes for sale. There are. And we don't have, and again, this is the crime of it. Okay, Trump, you won. You won. You're back in the White House. You are. You could put together a competent Department of Energy. You could. You could surround yourself with people that are prepared for what's about to happen next. You could. I mean, there's nothing stopping him. Nothing stopping him from doing that. But he's not. He's not. They're living in fantasy land. He's got his vice president out there pushing conspiracy theories. It's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And it is just a sad moment for us because there's an event happening. You remember when the Soviet Union collapsed? How world-changing that was? Look, terrorism comes out of Russia. It does. The extremists that'll do it, yeah, they recruit those out of poor people that are radicalized by religion and typically come somewhere out of either the Middle East or Southeast Asia or but where does it really come from? It comes from Russia. It does. Russia lives off chaos. They do. And they are collapsing. They are. If Joe Biden or Kamala Harris had been reelected, you would have seen the collapse of Russia. That would have been it. Putin would have been a dead man. Dead man. He would. He would just be, he would be dead. We wouldn't kill him. Russians would kill him. This is what's going on in Russia right now today, and the missed opportunity we're facing. Okay, there's several key things that are happening as we talk about this that would be the absolute collapse of Russia. Russian companies are turning to teenagers and retirees because they've got a massive labor shortage in Russia. I can't stress that to you enough, what that means. You know, pie in the sky happy people are saying, oh, it's 2.5 million people. No. Realists are saying it's closer to 4 to 6 million people that Russia is short in every aspect of their labor. Why? People left. Screw going to war in Ukraine. I'm leaving. Ask our European audience. There are Russians falling from the sky, man. Young Russians left over this war. That's one reason. The other reason, a lot of Russians died in the Ukraine. And of the ones that didn't die, a lot of them are severely injured and disabled. You know, give you an idea how bad it is in Russia right now, what this means. Russia is burning through 320 tank and artillery barrels a month. 320 a month. Wild guess what their manufacturing capability is to replace those barrels. How many do you think Russia can make to replace that 320 a month? Because, you know, artillery barrels, that's not, we got folks that are military. We got folks that are military here that understand you can only fire an artillery piece so many times. It gets hulled out. You've got to replace that barrel. And it's not cheap. It's not easy. They don't just, like cast a barrel out of steel. No, I mean, there's specific alloys that they have to put inside these things to keep the shells from just ripping the guts out of these barrels. They're burning through 320 barrels a month in their artillery and their tanks, and they can make 20. Good guesses, folks. A lot of good guesses. Barbara Panagon, thank you for the support. $50 is a lot of money, and I'm grateful. I appreciate it. Can't do this without your support, and I'm super grateful. By the way, today's show is fueled by Pete's Holiday Blend. Yeah, that's some good coffee too, man. It really is, folks. Oh man, when I say I hope your coffee is as good as mine, hell, I hope it's better. Good luck with that. They can make 20 barrels a month. Why do you think they're bringing in North Korean troops? Russia is screwed. They are literally collapsing, and they're running out of capital. They're running out of capital to pay. You know, what Russia does is every month they buy their own damn rubles back to keep the value of their rubles inflated. They're running out of capital. And the oligarchs are moving their resources out of Russia as fast as freaking possible because they know Putin's coming for it. They don't have men. They don't have material. They don't have the resources. They can't meet their recruiting goals. That's why you've got North Korean troops in Ukraine just getting mowed down by well-trained, well-funded, well-sourced Ukrainian troops. They have raised salaries in the military to about but depending on the job, 3 to 6 times what your average Russian makes, and they still can't fill their goals. They can't. They just can't get the people. That's what's happening inside Russia. And if you want to have an idea how bad it is, look at Syria. Syria is absolutely crucial to Russia, their terrorism, but more importantly, let's go to the map real quick. I want you to take a look at this. All right. This is Syria right here. Right here in the center of the map. Let's zoom in. Syria. I want you to look at just geopolitically where it's located. Where it's located. And I want you to remember, we did prior shows where we talked about Congo, we talked about Sudan, we talked about all of these incredibly resource-rich countries in Africa that Russia is just raping to prop up dictators. Their supplies of gold, diamonds, oil, precious minerals, all of that relied, just look at it. Russia's here, Moscow and St. Petersburg, all of that's up here. All of your gold and diamonds and oil and all of your influence is down here. Syria and their bases in Syria, more importantly, their naval bases here in Tartus and their air bases here in Latakia were crucial to Russia's influence. Absolutely crucial. Without those bases, Russia cannot force extend. And this is what's going on. This is what's going on. You've got the Russians that are desperately trying to come up with some deal to keep their bases. But it's not going well, folks. It is not going well for them. I mean, this is what it looks like inside Syria.
Allahu Akbar! Les Russes! C'est les Russes, frère! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar! Allahu Akbar!
There is footage after footage after footage after footage after footage in different locations with Russians just in columns. That was just a small one. I just loved it because you could actually see the rebel forces on one side of the highway and the Russians on the other side hauling ass. Russia's got troop transports steaming to Syria right now, desperately trying to. You think Afghanistan was bad? The pullout from Afghanistan was bad? Russia is just ditching their shit, man. And we're in full freak out mode because of that. We are. We're actually, and this is just mind-blowing for me, but we're actually advocating on behalf of Russia right now to try to keep the chaos to a minimum. Because we're looking at, oh shit, if the Russians don't get their S-400 systems out of Syria, these rebel extremists are going to have top tier military equipment. Su-35s. I mean, you're talking about the best of the best that Russia has to offer. They're going to lose it if we don't help Russia get their shit out. And man, it is happening. It is happening. One second. Let me show you. I had this pulled up. but it was just pulling so many resources from the. For some reason, the BBC was just nuts on the amount of data it was trying to force through. So I had to pull it down, and I'll pull it back up for you. Here's another source with the same satellite imagery. We got they're it's just streaming out of Tartus. These docks here would just normally have submarines and warships docked there. They're just hauling ass. They're gone, man. They're out. This is what it normally looks like. They've normally got their boats there in Syria prepared to provide support for all of their operations around the world. And man, they are gone. They are gone. Let me get you a close up of this. Russia is desperately trying to, empty. Their naval base is empty, gone. Just a couple cars here. The satellite imagery. See these parking lots? They're normally full. They're normally full. This is where they service and tender all their boats. They're just gone. Think about the opportunity. Think about that. You're talking about ending Russian terrorism, ending it going forward. And what's Trump doing? He's appointing Kimberly Guilfoyle because he needs to get rid of her for his son because they broke up. Ambassador to Greece. Greece is going to be critical to controlling what happens in the Eastern Mediterranean. And they're putting morons into these positions. It's dangerous. It's stupid. And elections have consequences, and we are missing a massive opportunity here to not just help Russia collapse, but to control what it looks like coming out the other side. You've got, like I said, you've got the Biden administration trying to slam the brakes on with these rebels and say, so that Russia will have time to get its weaponry out of Syria so that they don't fall into the hands of radicals. Do you think Trump's prepared to do something like that? Look at what he did in Afghanistan. He doesn't care. He didn't care when he created chaos for our own troops. Do you think he's got the wherewithal or the brain power to understand that, maybe, just maybe, complete and abrupt collapse of your enemy might need to be controlled? And who wins there? China. Absolutely. That's one of the other things that you need to be aware of. Look, it's difficult doing business with China. I've got family that's actually lived in China, done business in China. This is very typical. Okay. You negotiate a contract in China. Go through all of the hassle, the expense, and the negotiation, and you make a deal. This is really common for the Chinese to do. The day the contract is going to be signed, They will bring their state-controlled media. They will bring people out, just regular old citizens. They'll bring, look at this amazing deal that is being signed. It's going to be jobs, and you're going to benefit. And they get these huge crowds there. Then you show up, and they hand you the contract, and it's not what you negotiated. It's not what you negotiated. They changed it. And you've got to have the wherewithal in the middle of this media event with these thousands of Chinese people there cheering and happy to get the hell up and walk out. You do. That's typical. That's normal doing business in China. That's why we as the United States of America are an alternative. We're more expensive to do business with. We are than China. The bottom line looks better if they do business with China, but we're more expensive because we're more expensive. But they still do business with us. Why? Stability. When we make a deal, that's the deal. Our markets are stable. Our laws are stable because of our institutions. That's gone. That's gone. One of the things that Elon Musk, Mr. Crypto, just got Trump to sign on to is the elimination of the FDIC. This is from out of the Wall Street Journal, folks. This is the kindest, most right-wing spin on this you can get. This is literally a propaganda outlet for the right wing. And their headline is Trump advisors seek to shrink or eliminate bank regulators. Yeah. That's really happening. Elections have consequences. We already know that Janet Yellen was really all over the banks because they weren't successfully surviving stress tests. I appreciate you, Diane Kenyon. That's what I do here, man, is that we know what's coming. We know what's coming. Asborn, Mr. Newton says, China, 1, place order for 40,000 alloy wheels. 2, where are they? Answer, on way. 3, then you go and discover the factory is not built yet. Yeah, there's really hitches to doing business with China. There are. We always could compete, not because we competed on price, but we had stability. You knew what you got. And if you didn't get it, our own courts would enforce it. It was safe. That's gone. So why would you do business with us? I mean, really, think about it, folks. Why? If you take away that, why would you do business with us? You can do business with China. And that's what Europe is doing. They are. They just are. This new era. I mean, you had Macron and Donald Tusk in Poland. Here, let me pull that up for you. I should have had it for you, but again, be patient with me. This is the weakness being projected around the world. You got Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, Donald Tusk, president of I'm not going to sign into this. You're going to have to put up with it. Openly mocking Donald Trump, laughing. They're making fun of Donald Trump and that stupid handshake he does. They're literally laughing at us in Europe. Donald Trump's threatening, well, we're gonna leave NATO. France and Germany, bye, Felicia. We saw that coming in 2017. And they're mocking him. And they're doing business with China now. Elections have consequences, folks. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. There's no need for this. Trump literally could appoint competent people and still grift and still get away, beat all of his prosecutions and beat all of his, he could still do it all and appoint competent people, but he's not. He's not. Lori, thank you for supporting the show. I appreciate you. It's so embarrassing how much of a joke he is to the rest of the world. It is. It's humiliating. As an American, thanks for the support, Stoneflower Dragon. BJM, thank you for the hope I get. I know I've been very, very Little Miss Mary Sunshine today, but you need to know what's coming, especially this elimination of the FDIC, folks. That's your Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. That is who guarantees your deposits. We have technology coming down the pike in the next year or two that will literally render crypto completely vulnerable. You've got China is going to, mark my words, it will be no later than February. And China will aggressively move into invade Taiwan. They will. And it's because of this incompetence and weakness. And they have such poor vision that they're trying to promote cryptocurrency. When it's the institutions that keep us stable and safe and they make us competitive to the world. And folks, it's not just financially, it's not just militarily, it's literally. Well, look, let me just show you. These are the people they're appointing. RF Jr., who's going to run HHS. RFK Jr. You have 75 Nobel Prize winning scientists that have penned a letter begging our Senate not to confirm RFK. And it's because of this nonsense. He's a whore. He has been a grifter that has made his living off this medical freedom movement where they go to really dumb people that shouldn't be trying to make really commenting on, much less trying to make policy for a nation, and selling them it's all about their freedom. The government shouldn't be making you do any of this, and look how dangerous all this is, and just made up pseudoscience crap. Well, he's going to run HHS. And his top advisor, Aaron Siri, this is Aaron Siri. By the way, this is Aaron Siri. Aaron Siri is an accountant and a lawyer. And he literally sued the United States government to block us from providing the polio vaccine and the other one slips my mind, hepatitis B, the Hep B vaccine. Literally sued. You know, your kids, they go to school, they get a federally funded polio vaccine. That's why we don't have polio. Polio's not gone from the earth. It's not. It's just we don't get it because we vaccinate every child. Every child that goes to school gets vaccinated. So polio is incredibly rare. These people want that gone. And I don't mean they want it gone and they might not do it. I mean, they've literally sued the federal government to try to stop it. And now they're in power. Now they're in power. And just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like. Again, that's what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to, you ask me, Paul, what are we going to do? How are we going to fight this? And I keep telling you the same thing. Wait until we see the fights framed, then you will know what to do. Kay Allen, I remain true to my oath and science. Amen, Kay Allen. Amen. Phyllis Rayleigh. And I'm gonna come back to that very subject here in just a second. Okay. But look, the HHS, it does a lot of really important things. It does. And this is just a couple off the top. One, it establishes national poverty guidelines. Okay, what are national poverty guidelines? Why is that important? Folks, if you want to undermine our social safety net, just blow up the definitions of what poor people are. Have each state define on its own what it means to be poor. No standards, no standard of help. It's literally like blindfolding you and dropping you in a battlefield. What good are you? Look at the other one there. Human subjects research protection. Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what it says. You know, corporations don't do great things all on their own. They have to be regulated or they do awful things. That's just reality. Health and Human Services is the big guy in the room with the big freaking stick that says, you know what, you can't do radical experiments on human beings. You just can't. You can't lie to people that come in for experimentation, that volunteer. You can't do any of that. That's gone with RFK. It's gone. He's a whore. He is. He's a grifter and a whore. He's going to do whatever these big pharmaceutical companies want done. That is how the fight is framing up. So what do? You make sure no one in your family participates in any one of these trials ever. Ever. HHS science integrity. Yeah, standards for reporting, for how data is reported. All of that's controlled through the HHS, but that's not all of it. I mean, and think about that. Data integrity. the standards at which, when somebody does a scientific study, the standards at which they report that data is controlled by the HHS. No more. No more. And people don't realize HHS is huge. It is massive. Office of Population Affairs is a subset of HHS. What do? Prevention of teen pregnancy, the resources to prevent teen pregnancy, the evaluation of our population and its fertility going forward. Seems mildly important, doesn't it? When you're a nation of 320 million people and you're an aging population at that, you might want a government office that actually keeps track of the health of your incoming populations. I mean, if you want to know how well we're going to do as far as reproduction and the sustainment of our population going forward, in 5 years, who do you want to look at? You look at teenagers, right? They're the ones coming up the pipeline. They're going to be the mommies and daddies in 5 years, 10 years. Who do you think is going to be running the Office of Population Affairs now? The churches. The churches are. All the radical stuff that we fought to keep out of this, it's all going to be run by the churches. The data, the science, all of it, the grants that come out. Right now, the HHS, one of the ways that they do this is that they don't literally set up an office to do every single thing. No, they issue grants to people that do studies for a living. Guess who gets the grants now? Guess who gets the grants now? It's all these pseudoscience freaks that tell you to drink raw milk. They're going to get the grants. How many decades do you think is it going to take to overcome that? When you're talking about poverty standards, what does it mean to be poor? Well, this is Elon Musk on poverty and homeless. In most cases, the word homeless is a lie. It's usually a propaganda word for violent drug addicts and severe mental illness. And I showed this to you last week. Kind of hits a little different now when you realize that the guy that they put in charge of HHS that actually controls the data to determine what the standard for homelessness is and the standard for poverty is, kind of hits a little different when, why did Elon Musk say that? It was kind of crazy 2 days ago when we showed it. Well, it kind of makes a little sense now, doesn't it? They're about to control that data. And it's not just that. It is not just that. There is a department called CMS. It's under HHS. You remember a couple shows ago, I talked to you about Jeff Seitz. And I told you a little bit about who he's Biden's chief of staff right now. He's just a doer. He's just a guy that gets shit done. And remember I told you about what he did with the Affordable Care Act? Remember when the Affordable Care Act was first rolled out? It was kind of a disaster. And I told you they brought in Jeff to fix that. That's the kind of guy he is what he does. Okay. Well, Jeff didn't do it all by himself. He didn't. One of the people he brought in to fix the Affordable Care Act is this person. This is Chiquita Brooks LeSueur. And believe me, stick with me. This is gonna make you sick. What I'm done here. This is Chiquita Brooks LeSueur. Okay. She started out in the Office of Management and Budget as an analyst. Specifically, she worked in Medicare, Medicaid as an analyst in the Office of Management and Budget. That's how she started her career. She's a Princeton grad. She is razor sharp, folks. She is. She has worked in the public sector on healthcare issues, institutional healthcare issues, her whole professional career. She's really freaking good. She is. After she worked for OMB, y'all know what the Ways and Means Committee is. She went to work for the Ways and Means Committee. She understands institutional structure and spending. Well, when Jeff Zients needed somebody to write the Affordable Care Act, he brought in people like Chiquita Brooks LeSueur, and they straightened that mess out. She's really competent. She's really good at her job. Right now, she runs a little known department that you've probably never heard of called CMS. CMS. It's the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Management. Seems like a pretty good person you'd want to do that, right? I mean, she, you know, it's a subset of HHS. It's an important job. They administer Medicaid and Medicare. That's an important job. And like I keep saying, Trump could hire competent people. Hell, he could ask her to stay on if he wanted. But no. You people are so well informed. You are. You're so well informed. I bet you know the answer to this. Who do you think now is going to run CMS? Who is replacing? I knew you'd know it. I knew you'd know it. I knew you would know it. You people are the frickin' best, man. Yep. I want you to think about that for a second. We're going from somebody who just is as sharp as they come. I mean it. Princeton grad. Her resume is incredible. She has spent her entire life governing large medical institutions, specifically government medical institutions. We're going from that to this. A television quack that sells mouse milk. With no qualifications for the job. And I honestly, I don't know, because you know who he is. I mean, yes, I bought 3. Yes. Yeah, gun sales are going to, you better believe I'm arming myself to the frickin' teeth. Come at me at your peril. Yes, and it won't be right wingers. It'll be left wingers. 100%, because it's going to get crazy. And that's one of the things I'm going to encourage you to do. Arm yourself. If you're not comfortable with guns, there are plenty of people out there that are ready, willing, and able to train you, that do it professionally, that will teach you how to care for and utilize a firearm. But yeah, arm yourself. Best home defense weapon there is a shotgun. It is. You want my recommendation? SIG makes a wonderful little 9mm that holds about 13 rounds. If you want something for your purse, ladies, it's a very small, micro-sized. Sig Sauer is an excellent weapon. But yeah, folks, Dr. Oz, really? No qualifications to run a large medical organization at all. I mean, hell, the guy couldn't even really run the studies on. I mean, he was a freaking puppy torturer. An ethical nightmare. And now he's going to be the person, if you're on Medicare or Medicaid, he's the person that's going to administer it. Yep. 9mm ammo is always relatively inexpensive, even in times of shortage, and it's easy to find. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. Second, just had to ban a user. So yeah, folks, we have time for a roundtable discussion. That's anything you'd like to discuss? Anything you'd like to discuss? I'm more than happy to talk about it. That's what I have for you today. This right here, that is actually my nightmare scenario, and I really actually could see this coming. I could, Tina. I really could. Just the opposite of helping Ukraine, actually helping Russia. He is the. We're living in bizarro insanity world, and no, you could not rule out that we would end up propping up Russia and Ukraine. It's disgusting. It's revolting. It makes me physically ill to think about. Not many. Not many. Spicy just says, I have a feeling in a few years people are going to be doing what they always do when the economy tanks. They will be blaming immigrants and the poor. Mark Bound featured in The Big Short. Yeah. This is what we have to do here. Mr. Knudsen, how do the West manipulate Trump to Ukraine's advantage? Bribe him? Trump Tower Berlin? He's for sale. He's made it really open. He's for sale. You can bribe him. You know, Macron, when he invited him, forgive me, I'm a little tongue-tied. But Macron invited him to the reopening of Notre Dame. made him feel special before he mocked him publicly. Yeah. Appeal to his freaking ego and bribe him. It's not hard. It's really not hard. He's a very corrupt, easily manipulated, very stupid man. Women. Use women. You know, here's the thing. For Canada to actually follow through on that, it will have to have come to the point that Canada has nothing to lose. Not to say that it won't get there, but that you got to remember the source on that. That's Doug Ford, not exactly the most reliable voice in Canada. But yeah, Canada is going to do what Canada needs to do to take care of Canada, as well they should. As well they should. That's why people are like, Paul, why are you so anti-Russia and you're not as hard on China as you are Russia? Because I'll be honest with you, I understand China. China is looking out for China's interest. If you approach every relationship with China and every action from China from that point of view, they're really easy to understand. China is out for China. Russia, they are bastards. They are crooked, corrupt, deceptive, evil bastards. And I guess that's the biggest difference right there between what I see in China and what I see in Russia. China is not evil. They're just out for their own. Every situation they get into has to benefit China. I understand that. You know, as an American, it doesn't serve my interest, but I can deal with that. I can deal with that. Yes, Metal Mark. Do I think the government's going to stop reporting? Yes. The minute things go negative, think about these Republicans and what they're willing to do. You've got half Republican senators out there saying, we don't even need to confirm anybody. Just, it's just Trump wants them, let them have them. We'll just go on a break and he'll appoint them, in a recess appointment. We won't hold a hearing. We won't do our job. I mean, think about that. What kind of a stink do you think Republicans are going to make when it's political poison to them to actually point out real data? This is not a stretch at all. At all. One of the best made shotguns ever, the Remington 870. Dirt cheap. You can get a tactical you can get it in a shortened barrel and a tactical stock on it. And it is best home defense there is. It will never, you can put a Remington 870 into a puddle of pure baby shit textured mud, and that thing will still cycle. And yeah, easy to use. Highly recommend it for home defense. Highly recommend it for home defense. Very inexpensive. You can get a tactical version for under $500. Texas Paul, have you ever heard anything about the possibility that the orange guy might not make it very far into the presidency and will end up with couch crawler? Yeah. Did you see that last interview he just did? Now, let me tell you, his daddy lived into his 90s. He did. He had dementia and he was a waste of human flesh, but he lived into his 90s. So don't bank on Trump dying. No. But it wouldn't surprise me if he became so mentally incompetent that they couldn't cover it up anymore. I mean, think about what they did with Reagan. Reagan's entire second term, that man was if you listen to everything that they asked Reagan to talk about, it was long-term memory. Every time he gave a speech, it was long-term, old memory because his mind was gone. I don't know that they can get away with that with Trump because people are so much more actively involved. And yeah, great point there. A would Vance be an improvement? I mean, Trump can be bribed. I mean, he can. I mean, if we really wanted him to do the right thing, and Europe could actually bribe Trump. I mean, and manipulate him. Sally S., what are your thoughts on Congress introducing an enforcement of the 14th Amendment bill to have a vote on removing the prohibition of an insurrectionist from holding office of the president? You're going to see, Sally, a lot of this. You are. You're going to see not just a stripping of regulation, but a gutting of all of our legal norms. They just they've taken the mask off, and they're not losing supporters. Not yet. Not yet. So yeah, I mean the worst of the freaking worst is coming. You're going to see. I mean, think about that. I mean, think about this. You need to understand. They know he's a rapist. They do. They know he's a con man and a grifter. They know. Now, some of the dumbest of the dumb MAGA supporters, yeah, they're drinking the Kool-Aid. But these people in power, they know. Like Nancy Mace and her, I was attacked. She knows. I mean, she knows. That's just her character. If y'all didn't hear, by the way, Nancy Mace has accused someone of attacking her when there's a witness there that says, no. It was a youth advocate that was there, asked her to please stand up for transgender people, which was a waste of his breath, and shook her hand, according to the witness, shook her hand, and that was it. She claims he attacked her. He injured her arm. She walked around the Capitol with her arm in a sling. Capitol Police arrested the guy, even though there's a witness that says, no, none of that happened. None of that happened. It was a handshake. It wasn't even a prolonged handshake. They said it was four to 5 seconds. And then he went and sat back down. I mean, you think somebody like that with that kind of character and morals isn't willing to just take a squat and dump on the Constitution? Of course she is. It wouldn't pass. It wouldn't pass. It wouldn't. I mean, I get it. You can reason out he's an insurrectionist. You can reason out that he shouldn't hold office, but it wouldn't pass. Look, I mean, here, let me show you exactly what I'm talking about. me see if I can find this statement. Hold on with me. Be patient. All right, yeah, here. This is from Senator John Fetterman. My truth first. The Trump hush money and Hunter Biden cases were both bullshit, and pardons are appropriate. Weaponizing the judiciary for blatant partisan gain diminishes the collective faith in our institutions and sows further division. That is Democrat Senator from Pennsylvania, John Fetterman. Do you think you're going to get him to vote the way you want him to vote on that issue, on the 14th Amendment for Trump? No, not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. I don't mean to be a Debbie Downer. I really don't. But you understand he shouldn't be president. I understand he shouldn't be president. That goes back to that whole conversation that we've had over and over again, is we need to remember we're not just talking to each other. We're not just talking to each other. We're talking to the stupids. We are. You know, Linda, I wouldn't say he sucks as much as he's naive. He's very naive. John Fetterman is very naive. He has a worldview that doesn't comport to reality and what Republicans are. He just thinks that people are basically good people. And he really thought he was saying a good thing there, because remember, he said they should have never gone after Hunter Biden. They should have never gone out. What he's trying to say is let's depoliticize the DOJ. And again, that's naivety. It's naivety. The FBI is chock full of radical Trumpers. They are. That's just reality. We've got to live in that reality. And John Fetterman hasn't been slapped in the ass yet to make that point come home for him yet. He wants E.T. said, thanks for being here, E.T. again. I appreciate you. He wants old style military parades and people. There is no magic thingy that is going to keep him from doing all that he can, except that, and move on and get into gear to do things. Folks, what we can do, and this is the point of this whole damn show. They're going to fail. They're going to fail miserably. They are going to fail miserably. We need to never, ever, ever get off campaign footing. That's who we're talking to. We have to scream about every single failure. When they cut VA benefits, every one of those old guys you see that were wearing the Vietnam veteran hats and the name of the ship they served on and all that went out and voted for Trump, you need to be screaming at them, if they're your family members, in their face, Trump fucked you. That's how you win. That's how you win. Not because you're going to ever get that person to come over to you, because you're going to get that person to stay home. That should be your first goal when talking to MAGA. You're not going to get through to them. Discourage them, and discourage them with facts, provable facts. Oh, really? Here, let me get my phone for you. Let me show you exactly where grocery prices have gone up 25%. There you go. That's what we do. Never, ever, ever get off campaign footing. It's what they did. It's why they have morons running around. It's me says, what are thoughts on Truth Vote and vigilantes? I don't know enough about them to comment. I'm gonna tell you, I don't plead ignorance a lot, but I'm gonna tell you, I got to plead ignorance on that. Mr. Newton says, Rump made price of eggs and gas high FM. Exactly. That's why you had people The United States, and for our European audience, please, this is not American arrogance or anything like that. It's just numbers. We came out of COVID better off than anybody else. Our economy took off better than anybody else's. It did. It just did. Yet we had, even though our economy was leading the world, your average stupid thought we had a terrible economy. Why? Because the Republicans never got off campaign footing. They stayed on the campaign the entire way. That's what you need to do. I promise you, I will look for these events. I will look for these events as they happen. You have my email address. If you see one of these disasters happening, go to www.realtexaspaul.com. My email link is there. Email me in case I don't see it. And we will talk about each and every one of these failures, and we will blow it up to every MAGA person you have seen on every social media platform, every family get-together, everywhere. We are going to make sure every person knows Trump is a failure. It didn't have to be that way. He's a failure, and this is why. Contessa, you don't know where you are? You know, when I say things like I'm leading a movement, that's not a joke. You are part of a very important organization. Just by being here, Contessa, do you know how much more information you have than the average person? Don't sell yourself short. You are the campaign. That's what I'm saying. That's why I keep saying to folks, call your local Democratic Party, whatever county you live in. There's an election coming up. There's some in April here in Texas. School board elections. I mean, there are elections that you can literally change that are won by 5 votes, 13 votes, 16 votes. You can change the world starting in your backyard. You are the campaign. You are the campaign. We're really doing this ourselves. We're not waiting. Nobody's coming to save us. We're going to save ourselves. And, I want to take a second to thank people. A lot of you folks, I mean, I thank everybody that supports the show because I'm truly grateful. It is not an exaggeration when I say I can't do it without you. I just simply can't. I can't afford all the subscriptions. I can't afford the streaming software. I just beefed up. I don't know if you noticed, the computer's running so much smoother now because you paid for a brand new computer to stream on. And I'm really grateful. I think of all of you, thankful to all you people that donate here and keep, those donations keep Google happy with us and keep them promoting our show. Those donations on PayPal are amazing because those go directly to me, not through Google. All of you people that support. Hell, folks, I get, there are some really cool, there's a guy in upstate New York that mails me a paper $5 check or $10 check. I see it all, and I'm very grateful. I am very grateful. It is not hyperbole, and I'm very grateful when I say I can't do it without you, and I'm glad you're here. And the other part is, don't underestimate yourself and what we're doing here. There were 2,500 people in here, 2,500 people in here for this conversation today. We're at about 2,000 right now. That's a lot of people to hear what's going on. Another 30 to 50 to 100,000, depending on how many of y'all hit the thumbs up button, how many of y'all hit the subscribe button. Anywhere from 25 to 100,000 people will see this show. That's a lot of people getting good information. You are the campaign. You are the campaign. You're really making it happen. And I'm grateful. On behalf of my kids, thank you. On behalf of my grandkids, thank you. Because you're the only reason that I have any hope that we're going to be able to fix this shit. It's going to take us a while. Repairing the damage that's done here and rebuilding our institutions is going to take us probably decades. But because of you folks, I actually have hope that we're going to do it. Anyways, that's what I have for you today. Enjoy some Texas cities at night. Hit that subscribe button.